Harper sneered as she said, "Thanks for quitting." I met her gaze with a silent stare, refusing to respond. "We need to cut labor costs," she continued with a self-satisfied grin. "We don't need someone like you who exploits overtime pay." Tom, standing beside her, seemed equally pleased. A week later, I received a call from the company. The president's voice came through the line, brimming with authority. "Who exactly are you?" he demanded. I couldn't help but let out a mocking laugh. "I'm Ava," I said. "I just turned 59 and have been with the company for 37 years since graduating from college. We employ administrative scriveners, social insurance labor consultants, and tax accountants to handle our clients' clerical needs. This service is especially valuable to company presidents who run their businesses solo and don't have time for administrative tasks. We manage those responsibilities for them." I started in the tax department and obtained my bookkeeping and tax account qualifications during college, which is why I joined the company. I currently handle 45 clients, a task that keeps me incredibly busy. Although a part-timer helps with the accounting entries, the workload remains overwhelming. Yet I refuse to show any weakness. Many of our clients have faced significant challenges, and their perseverance inspires me to keep going. So here I am at my computer again today. Recently, I've been dealing with troubling behavior from Tom and Harper. Tom, who is 7 years my junior and now heads the tax department, used to be a polite colleague. However, his demeanor changed drastically 3 months ago after his promotion. He began talking down to me with a new condescending tone. "Ava, what are you doing? Do you have the audacity to slack off during work hours?" he'd say, always dripping with sarcasm or irritation. "I'm reviewing documents for tax-saving strategies for our clients," I would respond, but Tom remained unmoved. "Consult the manual for that. Don't do anything extra. And don't expect overtime pay if you work beyond your hours," he'd snap. When I couldn't counter his remarks, Harper, Tom's assistant, would chime in. "Ava, you need to work more efficiently. At this rate, you'll never advance beyond a rank-and-file position," she'd mock, her laughter adding to the sting of her words. I was offered the department head position first, but I turned it down. The role would have meant more management duties and less client interaction. Since this was an internal offer, Tom and Harper were unaware. All I could manage was to assure them, "I'll make sure to complete my regular duties." Despite this, Tom and Harper's harassment persisted. "Increasing overtime again? What a waste," Tom's voice boomed through the office. "Ava, stop it. Your constant overtime is dragging down the entire tax department," Harper added with disdain. The reason for my overtime was simple. Tom had left a month's worth of declaration forms on my desk that needed filing by the end of the month. After work yesterday, Tom had abruptly said, "Take care of these," and left several client files behind. When I saw the files, I asked, "Wait, these all have deadlines this month, right?" Tom was already gone, having disappeared while I was still looking for him. I found him at his desk, packing up. "I'm heading out. Take care," he said quickly before leaving. Harper followed him out, her laughter echoing as she said, "Good luck." I sighed in disbelief and opened the files. To my dismay, some were actually Harper's responsibility. It was clear to me why Tom was harassing me. They wanted me to retire quickly. I had more experience and a deeper understanding of taxation than Tom, so other tax department members came to me with their questions rather than him. Tom's unpleasant demeanor and greasy appearance make him unapproachable, and the only female who stays near him is Harper. Tom's apparent preference for younger women seems to be driving his desire for me to retire so that he can attract more attention from the other female employees. It's a shallow, unsettling motive. Tom's dislike for me was evident, and Harper was clearly trying to curry favor with him by harassing me. Tom, who evaluates the tax department's performance, likely saw Harper's actions as a way to undermine me for a better evaluation. Regardless, I had to handle the declarations. With the workload piling up, it seemed unlikely I'd finish everything on time. I resigned myself to unpaid overtime, knowing any claim for extra hours would only provoke complaints from Tom and Harper. One day, I was unexpectedly summoned to the president's office. The company had recently undergone a leadership change. The previous president, who had led the company since its inception, was now ill and had handed over the reins to his son. The new president, though experienced elsewhere, was unfamiliar with our operations and had little choice but to step in. "Excuse me," I said as I entered the office, noting Tom and Harper's unpleasant smirks. Why are Tom and Harper here? I wondered aloud. The president addressed me with a stern tone. Ava, we need you to resign by the end of the month. Excuse me, what do you mean? I asked, confusion gripping me. Tom and Harper have reported that you've been overbilling for overtime, the president said. Other tax department employees have about 15 hours of overtime a month, but you have over 80 hours. Doesn't that seem odd? And Tom and Harper have no overtime this month. Quite impressive, isn't it? He eyed me critically. The high number of overtime hours was due to the additional work I'd taken on from Tom and Harper. If I mentioned that it was at Tom's direction, it would make me seem inefficient, so I simply stated the facts. I hadn't overbilled for overtime. It's a result of not being able to finish my work within regular hours, I explained. The president sighed heavily. I'm skeptical, but there's no concrete evidence, so I won't pursue it. However, we can't continue with someone who works this slowly. Therefore, I want you to resign. It was clear the president had made up his mind. I was being pushed out of the company I had dedicated 37 years to. I felt drained instead. I ended up agreeing to take on Tom and Harper's tasks as well. Yes, I understand. I'll resign at the end of this month, I said to the president, resigned to the decision. I glanced at Tom and Harper, who were clearly reveling in their victory with smug smiles. After leaving the president's office, Harper sneered at me. Thanks for quitting, she said, meeting my gaze with disdain. I returned her stare in silence. Tom gave me a similar condescending look. We're cutting labor costs. We don't need someone like you who exploits overtime pay, he added with evident satisfaction. As I watched them chat cheerfully, I focused on the handover process, preparing documents for all my clients. I made sure to say goodbye to everyone I could. For those I couldn't meet in person, I sent letters introducing my successor. A week after my resignation, I finally found some time to relax at home. The handover had kept me incredibly busy up until my last day. Just as I was settling in, my mobile phone rang. It was the company. What could they want now? I had taken care of all the necessary social insurance procedures. Initially, I ignored the call, but the company kept calling, and so did Tom and Harper on their personal mobiles. Perhaps they hoped I'd answer if they called directly. Reluctantly, I decided to pick up. Hello. Ava, it's a disaster. The president's voice crackled urgently through the line. Who exactly are you? I let out a mocking laugh. Who am I? Just an unemployed lady. I've resigned from the company and am not doing anything else right now. The president's tone was frantic. Since you left, we've had 49 calls to stop transactions with the company. Please come back immediately. He hung up abruptly, his panic palpable. Reluctantly, I got up and headed back to the company. When I arrived, I found Tom and Harper waiting for me, their faces pale and dark circles under their eyes. What's wrong with you two? I asked, astonished at their disheveled appearance. Tom glared at me. Since you left, we've been inundated with calls to halt transactions, not just from your clients, but also from prospective companies we were planning to introduce. What did you do? Harper eyed me with suspicion. I never imagined Ava would be capable of something so underhanded. I'm truly disappointed. Their haggard appearance was likely due to the flood of cancellations they were dealing with. I hadn't sabotaged any clients, but I had a hunch about why the cancellations were happening. Well, the cancellations might be unavoidable this time, I said quietly. Tom's face reddened with anger. So, you did do something, didn't you? Get to the president's office now. He marched me to the president's office. President, I brought her, Tom announced forcefully as he flung open the door. Harper followed closely behind. I've been expecting you, the president said, locking eyes with me. Tom's accusation was clear. It seems Ava has been involved in causing these transaction cessations. We should not only accept her resignation but consider legal action for damages. Harper, though careful in her speech, argued vehemently in front of the president. Ignoring them, the president turned to me and asked, why have so many companies stopped doing business with us since you left? The president's gaze was intense, waiting for my explanation. I took a deep breath and answered clearly, don't you understand? Our clients didn't stay with us just for tax management. Many firms offer that service at a lower cost. They stayed because I was here. Tom snapped, what's with your attitude toward the president? Do you think you're that indispensable? Harper taunted. There's no way it's because of Ava. The president maintained a serious demeanor as I explained. Tom and Harper follow the manual to optimize operations, but my role went beyond that. I provided tailored tax-saving strategies for each client's unique situation. A one-size-fits-all approach doesn't always serve their best interests. Many clients stayed because they valued this personalized service. Tom was incensed. How can we afford to give such detailed attention to each case? It's too time-consuming. Exactly, Harper agreed emphatically. It's inefficient. The president sighed deeply. Actually, I just received a call from my father, the former president. Some clients who stopped transactions reached out to him directly to discuss the situation with Ava. I was taken aback. I hadn't expected the clients to take such steps for me. Dad mentioned that the tax department thrived because of Ava. She not only managed her clients but also supported her colleagues' clients. Her expertise surpasses Tom's. He also noted that had Ava accepted the promotion, she would have risen to a position higher than department head by now. The president's expression was pained. No, no way, Harper exclaimed, stunned by the revelation that I might have been in a superior position. The president continued, I'm truly sorry for asking you to resign, Ava. Can we retract your resignation? My father insists strongly that you're crucial to the company. I was relieved by the president's change of heart, but I couldn't accept the offer immediately. Before I could respond, Tom interrupted. President, what do you mean she's better than me? I can't accept this. Tom was visibly upset. Harper joined in the protest. Tom is a great boss who cares for his team. How can you choose Ava over him? It's unacceptable. The president's gaze turned stern. Actually, since Ava's resignation, we've received numerous complaints about the tax department. It seems you two have been shifting your workload onto others. What? Why would you do that? Tom's face turned ashen. The president continued with a look of disgust. I've heard from the employees that you've been neglecting your duties and pushing them onto Ava. Your behavior has been brought to light, and it's clear that the department's issues stem from your actions. That you, Tom, have been assigning your client declaration forms to your subordinates, including Harper's work for many clients. As I spoke, Tom's complexion grew even paler. Harper, standing next to him, trembled at the mention of her name. There's also a report that you've been pushing your work onto Ava until she resigned. While you've been calling her a salary thief, it seems the roles were reversed. The president sighed heavily. No, that's not. Tom was visibly flustered, struggling to come up with a defense. Seeing Tom and Harper's pale faces, the president continued, additionally, there have been reports of an inappropriate relationship between you two. You were frequently seen leaving work together. But Tom, aren't you married? The president's gaze was sharp as he confronted them. I was just mentoring Harper as her superior. There was nothing inappropriate, Tom stammered, trying to justify himself. The president pulled out several receipts. These are receipts flagged by the accounting department. These dining expenses filed by Tom. Who were they for? Certainly not clients, right? Tom was sweating profusely and unable to respond, while Harper's face went ghostly pale. Tom and Harper, you've neglected your duties and inflated expense claims. On top of that, you're involved in an affair, despite Tom being married. According to company policy, I'm terminating your employment effective immediately. The president delivered the verdict calmly and decisively. Tom and Harper's protests began almost immediately. Please wait, I'll retract the receipt claims. Just don't fire me, I have a family, Tom pleaded desperately. Harper echoed his plea, tears welling in her eyes. Please, I don't want to be fired. I'll apologize to Ava and everyone else for offloading work. I'm sorry. Her distress was evident as she realized the gravity of her situation. Worried about her future reputation, he advised them, why don't you just stop resisting? It's undignified. Tom glared at me. Shut up. What would someone like you, who's single, understand about this situation? I sighed and responded, Tom, you were the one who got me fired. This is just karma. What goes around comes around. Maybe it's time for you to take some responsibility and reflect. Tom's frustration was evident, and Harper bit her lip nervously. I haven't reported this yet, but there's more to Tom and Harper's misconduct. Would you like me to share more details? I asked the president with a knowing smile. Their behavior was an open secret in the tax department, and their antics had reached me, whether I wanted to hear them or not. No, please don't, Ava, stop, Tom and Harper pleaded frantically, trying to prevent me from revealing more. I gave them an ultimatum. Wrongdoings always come to light. It would be better for you to face the truth before things get worse. At my words, both Tom and Harper collapsed to their knees. Ultimately, they were fired on the spot. I went on to reveal their full extent of misconduct, including Tom faking business trips to spend time with Harper and their persistent harassment of employees they disliked, driving them to quit. I had tried to help those employees, but Tom and Harper's tactics were insidious. They would suddenly assign work with tight deadlines and use underhanded methods to push employees out. Although the employees who had resigned had asked me to keep quiet, they were now happily employed elsewhere, so I decided it was time to speak up. The president was enraged by my revelations. He expressed his intention to withhold their final salaries and conduct a thorough investigation into their past inflated expense claims. Tom, tearful and desperate, begged, "Please don't cut my salary. What will I tell my family if they find out?" As a result of the exposure, Tom's affair with Harper came to light, leading to a divorce with his wife. Tom and Harper are now facing compensation claims in the divorce lawsuit. I know this because for some reason, Tom reached out to me. "Please, can you persuade the president to reconsider the firing?" Harper and I are in a real bind now. Tom and Harper are now struggling to find new employment. The tax industry, being rather insular, has a way of spreading news about misconduct quickly. As a result, no one is willing to hire them. With mounting needs for divorce compensation and living expenses, they've ended up taking on day labor jobs like working at construction sites. The transition from office work to hard labor outdoors has been grueling for them. Harper frequently calls me in distress. "Ava, please help. I just wanted a raise and a better life. I never really liked Tom, and this situation is unbearable," she often sobs. Despite her pleas, Harper and Tom's current struggles are a direct consequence of their actions. Many, including myself, have been negatively affected by their behavior. I told Harper bluntly, "This is the result of your own choices. You can't undo what's been done. It's time to face the consequences." In despair, Harper exclaimed, "No way." But this is the outcome of her actions, and I hope she comes to terms with it. As for me, I continue to enjoy a more relaxed lifestyle away from the pressures of work. Despite the president's persistent attempts to persuade me to return, I declined. Once asked to resign, I have no intention of going back. I occasionally assist at a friend's tax office for some extra income. In the future, I might consider starting my own office. This way, I can work on my own terms without any complaints about my style. I aim to be a dedicated tax accountant, providing services on equal footing with my clients rather than as a superior. My new chapter has just begun, and I'm excited to explore what comes next.